Our new intros, ladies and gentlemen, with the new song courtesy of Chaos, who's on the show with us today. Shout out to Chaos, but let's get right into things. Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for pro wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Tonight is AEW Dynamite, and they do have a stacked card. But of course, we need to talk about the WWE Sale news as well, because we got some huge updates on that in the past 24 hours. But firstly, let me introduce the panel for today. Firstly, the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm fired up to be here on RC Wednesday. Can you just replay the intro one more time? Like, I feel like 30 seconds was not enough. I was way too fired up to go immediately to a 4-man camera. That was an unbelievable spot to put me in. I was as hyped as anyone here.
Definitely. I was not ready for that, but yeah.
I can
Monster
see...
shout out, Chaos. That was freaking awesome.
It absolutely is. Chaos has done a sick job. But I could see you guys' reactions, right, in the host cam at the bottom. And I was like, I'm going to have to use a 4-cam now so they can see their reactions when it goes on.
I was so hyped.
But also joining us, we have the man who made the song in the intro, Chaos. How are you, Chaos?
Wrestling Republic. This is wrestling. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, it's still in my head. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. You know what that means. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, both WWE and AEW stuff. And I've worn the perfect shirt, and I also got the perfect drink, Fanta Strawberry today.
Fair enough.
Well,
so I agree with you on that.
10 times better than Prime.
No, not quite as good as it, but it's still a solid drink.
And
also joining us, we have Carter Crisp. How are you, Carter?
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to be covering the company where Samoa Joe, one of my favorite wrestlers, is on the roster.
Absolutely. It's going to be a banger of a show. But firstly, let's talk WWE. Let's talk about the WWE sale, because if you don't know by now, Endeavor Group Holdings are purchasing WWE, and they have announced that the sale is expected to go through by the middle to end of next month, September. They've also announced, of course, that it's going to merge with UFC into one company called TKO Group Holdings. But in terms of content, they're not going to merge or anything like that. They're going to remain two separate entities, so don't expect any wild changes like that. But what will change? Well, firstly, if we base what's going to happen to WWE based off what they did to UFC, then we're likely going to see a lot more sponsorships. WWE is probably going to become a lot more profitable, start earning a lot more money. And yes, I mean, it's going to be a great time for the wrestling business. I imagine the popularity of WWE could well go up as well, because we know Endeavor are great at doing that. Now, Ari Emanuel did hint yesterday when talking about it that, cost savings was the exact phrase that he used, would be used immediately, which likely means cuts. Now, when we think of cuts in wrestling, we often think about talent cuts. Yes, there could be talent cuts. If we base it off UFC and what happened in UFC, there probably will be talent cuts. I know one thing that a lot of people have, talked about is potentially Legends contracts. Well, that's one thing which they got rid of in UFC. I'm going to be honest, I don't think the same thing is going to happen in WWE because of how valuable the Legends are for them. They earn so much money off merchandise. So much money. And I don't have the exact figures for UFC Legends, but I imagine that they're not selling as much merchandise as a lot of the WWE guys are because, of course, Undertaker, stuff like, Undertaker merch, NWO merch, it's all mainstream at the end of the day as well, right? It's something which has been iconic through generations. So I don't think we'll see many legends get let go. As for talent, we're going to have to wait and see. However, what they also likely mean by that is perhaps people such as video editors, graphic designers. Some of them now work for UFC, some of them work from WWE. Now they're one company. Well, you could use the same for both. In reality, it's not quite that simple, as I know for a fact the design team is already being, overworked in WWE. So if you're now putting even more on them, or even more on the UFC designers, then hey, things, might get a little bit complicated, but we're going to have to wait and see. But unfortunately, my prediction is that is the way that it will go. Now, I'm going to pass it to Clark first of all, because Clark, I know you followed the Endeavor purchase of UFC, very closely at the time when it happened. So tell me your thoughts. What do you think will happen when Endeavor purchase WWE and merge it with the UFC to make TKO Group?
I mean, just like The Happening said, we'll see you in September on that one. This is pretty unpredictable. The way Endeavor took over the UFC with Dana White in charge at the time, things weren't exactly the same as Vince taking a leave of absence, right? Dana was there and the UFC ran pretty standard out of the gates. While there were cuts and whatnot, it ran about the same at first, and then you saw the changes happen over time. I'm not saying I fear necessarily. Yeah, change is good at times, and we've seen the sponsorship matches creates revenue. As long as it's not a distraction from the wrestling, I have no problem with sponsors. It's kind of ridiculous from a business standpoint to even criticize that. And so I have no issue with that aspect, and I think we'll see more and more of it. Yes, that will be the first one we see. As far as the cutting legends and cutting different contracts, I think we might see some restructures as contracts maybe expire and whatnot. I don't think, to your point about merch sales, I don't think that The Undertaker is about to be on a list of cuts. I don't think that Stone Cold is about to be on a list of cuts, or The Rock, or any of those type of names. But I do think we'll see it in other areas, smaller areas, maybe shrink the creative team slightly, maybe shrink certain other departments, whether it be marketing or whatnot, down to a level that just enhances profitability. And that's kind of what Ari Emanuel implied as far as cost cutting in what he mentioned yesterday, as you brought up, right, Ben?
Yeah.
And so, I wish I had a clearer picture. The waters are muddy because Vince just had to take a leave.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
On top of the subpoena. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not entirely sure, because we may see Ari Emanuel and Triple H for the foreseeable future out of the gates.
That would certainly be very interesting.
And that would be an interesting dynamic to see how that works, because, as far as we know, publicly speaking, Ari and Vince have a good relationship and know each other well. I don't know how well Ari Emanuel knows Triple H, or Triple H knows Ari Emanuel. I'm sure they've met and had meetings, and right. But I don't necessarily know that they've considered the fact that it may be those two running the ship week to week creatively in WWE.
I mean, I'm going to be honest.
Not that Ari would be pitching creative, but he's going to have his eyes on the product, especially during the initial introduction post sale.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, Ari isn't too. I don't know if he is a wrestling fan or if he's not a wrestling fan, but I'll put it this way: Triple H, who's officially the head of creative, his boss is Nick Khan. Nick Khan's boss is Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's boss is Ari Emanuel, right? So that's the way in which this kind of pyramid, it feels like, kind of is going. I get the feeling that Ari Emanuel is much more interested in the business side than even the on-screen product at times, because
it's more about numbers.
I think he's put 3 people, beneath him.
I hear that, but knowing Ari Emanuel's passion for the businesses that he's been a part of, he dives in head first. That's his reputation, and so even if he's not a pro wrestling fan, even if he's not, he is not gonna miss a beat, right? I mean, the joke about Ari Emanuel is like, he doesn't sleep, he waits, right? He's one of those guys that you can't give enough credit to what he's accomplished in business and law and as an agent.
Absolutely.
And running all of that. And so I don't see him being that hands off no matter what. Not that he's going to be directly involved in creative, but he's not going to be not watching is the point, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's a very fair one. And the one thing which I want to briefly mention that you spoke about is, sponsorships being on the apron. A lot of wrestling fans are complaining about this, right? And I understand why it can seem a little bit distracting at first. But here's the thing. I've actually wondered why they've not done it in wrestling for quite a while now, because they've done it in football, or as you Americans call it, soccer, for years and years now on the outside of the pitch. Like pretty much my entire life, they've had the digital LED boards going around.
Baseball, hockey, basketball,
NASCAR,
football.
Oh, okay.
NASCAR.
So the more than I've been shocked. I've been shocked that WWE haven't, caught on to this yet, because they've got perfect space around the apron. They're finally now doing it. Yes, it can be a little distracting, but the fact of the matter is you're going to get used to it, and it's going to earn them a lot of money. So I think it's going to be good for the business overall. But Chaos, give me your thoughts on this one.
I think I can't really say anything additional. I mean, you've pretty much you've all hit it on the head. I feel like most of the changes for especially at the beginning is going to happen more behind the scenes than in front of it, because at the end of the day, there's no reason to change what's happening on screen, because business is booming.
It's booming.
Oh no, Chaos's internet's cut out again. The
Great
return of the internet
shot.
ghost. Well, Carter, do you want to try and predict what Chaos was going to say?
I'm not sure what he was gonna say, but I can say as a NASCAR
fan, give your thoughts on it.
Let me tell you something. The sponsorship thing, at first it's a little weird, and in the NBA, I know people were weird about like Bumble on the Lakers jerseys and stuff, but my opinion, the sponsorships greatly enhance the NASCAR experience. When I think of like Kyle Busch and M&M's and that M&M's car and the M&M's racing jacket, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But it can get overboard. Like you guys pulled me from the MMA world, so I'm a little more heavily in there. I know KSW in Poland, they will print the sponsors on the fighter's body. That would be a step too far for me in wrestling. I don't want to see that. But seeing like a Pepsi, on the apron or along the side, maybe it's more common in American sports, but anytime you watch like motocross or, any sort of motorsport, Formula One, even, you'll see the Rolex banners on the side. So I think it's just a chance to make more money. The one criticism MMA fans may have of the sponsorship is that in the UFC, fighters can't control who sponsors them, which is sort of a control thing. And UFC's run very tight with Dana White. So that's something moving forward. I think it's going to be very, corporate. It's not going to be free and open like MMA was when it was first starting out. But
it's Condom Depot on the trunks.
Mm-hmm. so what you're telling me, Carter, is that Finn Balor is going to come out with his next demon, face paint and all of that, and over his body he's going to have a McDonald's sponsor or something like that.
AT&T. It's got to be
Mountain Dew. Yes.
No, Monster.
Oh,
prime. Paul. But Chaos, you're back. What were you going to say?
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. I think my hamster died on the internet wheel. So yeah, I'm not sure what you guys caught, but basically, I don't think much is going to happen. Much is going to change on what we're going to see on screen, because like what they're doing right now is booming right now in terms of their SummerSlam was their most watched and most highest grossing SummerSlam of all time. WrestleMania last was one of the big, like if not the highest grossing pay-per-view. So I think if everything is good on screen, then I don't see much changes. I mean, it kind of teased of things kind of like sponsorships or maybe influences, like with Ronda Rousey with her attire on SummerSlam. I don't feel like that. I'll be very surprised if they're going to put sponsorships on wrestlers, because I don't think wrestlers are going to take that. I don't think they're going to really follow through with that. I think there's definitely going to be. It can run the risk of it being very WrestleMania level of sponsorships, because that was really heavy for us being there, in my opinion.
Toast Crunch,
Snickers,
Toast Crunch, anyone.
I ate so many Snickers.
That was so many. Oh God. But But yeah, I think it's gonna be very similar to how UFC was, where when this deal does go through, I think you're not gonna hear much changes, and then after a couple months, you're gonna be like, okay, there's gonna be comebacks internally. I'll be very
Why
surprised.
Finn Balor got a McDonald's icon on it? It's just
Will Brock Lesnar though diss a beer sponsor? Is the question, just like in the UFC.
Oh, Bud Light. Oh, no.
I'm gonna go home and drink a Coors Light.
Yeah, Coors Light,
Bud Light won't pay me anything, and he pointed at the
Iconic
mat
promo.
with the logo.
Bring back Death Clutch, definitely. Imagine if he brings back Death Clutch. But yeah, I think it'll be. I think we ain't gonna see that much changes. I can't really add anything else. I agree with what everyone's been saying, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'll be very surprised if there'll be wrestlers contracts cutbacks. That'll be very surprising.
Yeah, because the
so,
roster's thin as it is, But then
exactly,
again, I mean, the Way haven't appeared for ages on Raw, so I mean, who knows? I really hope there's not though. But now let's go on from WWE to All Elite Wrestling, and let's talk about Rob Van Dam, who is back. He made his AEW debut last week to confront Jack Perry, and the two will face off for the FTW title tonight on Dynamite. Now, here's the one concern that I have, right? Pretty much everybody who stepped in the ring with RVD says, well, they say two things. The first one is, absolutely great worker, but usually the first match with him is a bit rough, right? Where you're trying to, he works a bit of a different style, so it's a bit rough to, get used to him. The second point is, his kicks hurt. This is my issue with this match. I'm really worried that it really won't be that great. Because Jack Perry, this is Jack Perry's, well, really, apart from that brief match with Huck, this is his first proper match as a heel, right? And so he's going to be trying to, work this new style, understand this new style. Meanwhile, he's facing somebody, facing Rob Van Dam, who, usually takes a little while to get used to working with him. And also Jack Perry, being a young talent that he is in AEW, he's probably not used to these stiff kicks. So I actually don't know about, how this all goes. But Clark, what about you? How are you feeling heading into this FTW championship bout?
I hear where you're coming from, and I believe this match can only go two ways. And the first, I'll start with the bad news. Exactly what you said about the stiff work of Rob Van Dam could come back to bite this match and make it look a little bit sloppy. But in defense of what this could be, Jack Perry has worked with some seriously, seriously talented professional wrestlers since he's been in AEW. He's talented in his own right, and he worked with Jerry Lynn last week, and Jerry Lynn works backstage. Jerry Lynn is Rob Van Dam's greatest opponent of all time. There's no doubt about it. You go back and watch old ECW, Jerry Lynn versus RVD is off the charts. If he hasn't coached up Jack Perry on what he's facing in RVD tonight, when it comes to how stiff those kicks are and how stiff some of the strikes are and how he might catch you with that 5-star frog splash, a la Triple H Elimination Chamber, right?
Yeah.
Crushed trachea. If Jerry Lynn hasn't coached him up on that, I'm not saying it's on Jerry Lynn, but that, to me, that is the key to this match's ability to succeed, is the fact that Jerry Lynn and Jungle Boy worked, or Jack Perry worked for the previous weeks. Lynn's backstage. If they brought in RVD, Jerry knows how to work RVD better than anyone. If he's coached up Jack Perry, this could be a show stealer. I truly believe that.
Yeah, no, I do hope you're right, Clark. I really do. We've got Melissa in the comments. Shout out to Melissa there. And she's giving a shout out to Clark there.
Shout out, Melissa.
Well.
What's up, Melissa?
But now let's move on. And let's move on to the women's division, the All Elite Wrestling women's division. Because Hikaru Shida, who of course won the AEW Women's Championship last week, is going to be facing Anna Jay, defending the title against Anna Jay this week. And I think this is going to be a great match. I really enjoyed the match. The two previous matches these two women had together. My only concern is the exact same concern I've had for weeks now. In fact, not even weeks. For like the last year now. And that's that they are booking this AEW Women's Division week to week to week. Anna Jay, right, is in this match because she won. She won a match on Rampage last week. That's why she's in it. It's like, come on, you've got to build these stories better than just week to week. We spoke about it last week with Mercedes Martinez, and it's the exact same thing here. The AEW women's division is so talented. I really cannot overstate how talented I think they are. But come on, you guys can do better than this. It should be more than just week to week booking here. There should be long-term plans. The one thing I will say is Anna Jay cut a great pre-recorded promo on Collision hyping this up. Not really surprising, but Anna Jay has improved so much on the mic. She really has done. I actually think she's underrated at this point in time. But Chaos, what do you think about that?
Why is this happening? I mean, I understand you just explained it. She just won a random match on Rampage. You and 4 other people saw that. Now, I mean, what I didn't say for the rest.
Truthfully, Chaos, I didn't even see that.
He's not even one of the 4.
Okay, maybe only David Sheldon probably only the one I watched.
3 people that saw it and Ben.
Yeah. Shout out to David, by the way. But yeah, it's you're right. This thing it just seems to be getting worse. Like they got called out from that one shot from about book the division better, and then all that madness happened with this bit with
Mephisto.
Mephisto. And it's looked like they're literally just doing this. Like, what's going on? Is anything happening out there? No? Okay, cool. Like, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this match somehow, just as their way of saying sorry, ends up being the main event. But what does Anna Jay like? She doesn't really fully warrant that. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree. Anna Jay has improved over time, and she's building up that potential that we all thought that she had, but. This she doesn't. This should be a non-title match. Why is she going for the title? And it's not. And it's coming out of thin air. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, knowing me, this will probably be in the background as much as I should really invest into it. But yeah, I'm gonna be washing the dishes when it was this on probably, and then just glance over because it's like there's no end game. And then what's the next main thing going on for Hikaru Shida, because she's not even in the main any main program right now. So, and how do you build up a new program from this match? It's just going to be forced. So yeah, my hopes are very low at this point. And but yeah, again, hashtag book the division better. That's all I can say on this. It's just
book it better. I said over and over again, and I'll say one sentence on this to end it. One sentence. Would you see a random match for the men's AEW World Championship on a random episode of Dynamite?
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
Wasn't there a random one with some jobber the other day?
For the AEW men's title.
I agree with everything Chaos said except for the dishes thing. I've been on a paper plates kick recently, so I've been trying to avoid doing dishes. But basically everything else he said was spot on.
You've been cancelled now, Clark, for not for using paper plates.
No, I recycle them. I'm responsible.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
paper plate. Such a crime. I had no idea.
Why didn't you?
Why do they still sell them at the grocery store if that could get you canceled? That's what I would ask.
Well, just put them in the dishwasher, isn't it? But
well, the paper plates.
Not the paper plates, the actual plates. I say this. I actually, in my place, I only ever wash up because I don't have a dishwasher. But
oh, see, that's privilege. I ain't gonna start there.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't have one. I have to.
I was like, how do I want? Like, what's this? A sponge?
No, I used to. I always, and the worst thing about dishes, I always end up doing them pre-podcast, right? When I'm back in my place, doing them pre-podcast, talking with Clark about what's going to happen on the show today. But that's besides the point.
By the way, he's about to bring up the gloves conversation again too. Speaking of gloves, Chaos, you should see the gardening mitts he puts on to do dishes.
You're going to burn your hands. Chaos, do you wear rubber gloves doing the washing up?
No.
I just use my hands.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, plate and...
Men don't wear no. Men don't wear rubber gloves. That's what I'm saying.
Your skin is the most.
I don't know how cold you guys' water must be. If I put my hands under that water when it's boiling hot, I can feel it through the rubber gloves.
I don't touch the water.
You wash with cold water.
No. How hot? My water's very hot, which is why I wear the gloves.
Next segment is going to be on how to cook an egg, guys.
You
Don't
are
worry.
a diva, Ben. I'm sorry. Yeah, you see,
Well,
your
the
girl's
funniest
getting
thing is
jealous
my
of pulling you up.
girlfriend actually agrees with all of you. She doesn't use washing up gloves.
Yes.
And yeah, she's agreeing with
Go,
Kale
Melissa,
there.
go.
Melissa.
Go, Melissa, go.
Washing up marigold gloves for the win. But now let's move on and let's talk about the Young Bucks because they're facing the Hardy Boys tonight on AEW Dynamite. And this came from backstage promo on Rampage. And we know Chaos didn't see it. I think none of us saw it. But anyway, where the Young Bucks said that they were returning to the tag team division. And then they were like, well, why are the Hardys standing over here? Come in short. Matt Hardy then challenged them. And then Matt Jackson had the worst acting. But it was like deliberately bad acting that I've ever seen. And it was hilarious. It was like all four guys were like, we don't really want to do this segment, but we want to have the match. So let's just, like, they were literally like fake acting. They were like, oh, why are the Hardys just randomly standing here? Let's invite them in shot. It was just, I actually really enjoyed the segment, but it was just so bad that it was good. But Carter, what do you think about heading into this match, this tag team match tonight on AEW Dynamite?
Well, I think on the back end, I think that I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think the Young Bucks want to be the greatest tag team, not just in all of AEW, but in all of wrestling. And I think on the back end of this is FTR at either All In or All Out. And I think this is a build-up match for that. I don't see the Hardys beating the Young Bucks. I mean, unless the Hardys are going to face FTR for a title. But I think the Young Bucks right now are on their way to trying to be one of the best tag teams in all of wrestling, specifically AEW. And this is sort of a build-up match. Brothers on brothers, honor the old legends, enter the new legends. I think sort of deal. I think it'll be a fun match. I don't know how well the Hardys are moving around lately. I know Jeff's back in the day was real acrobatic, but I think it'll be exciting. Good match, but I think it's building up for something bigger, something big in the tag team division. Shows you how good AEW is at booking doubles and triples.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can very briefly talk about this, right? Because, like you said, AEW since they've started they booked the tag team division excellently. I'm going to be honest, the last 12 months, I thought it's not been as great. However, we're back with a bang. All in. We're going to be there. All in. FTR versus the Young Bucks. I'm excited. It's going to be a banger. It does make this tag match on Dynamite tonight a bit predictable, but I'm not going to complain about seeing Young Bucks versus Hardys one more time. I mean, I wish it had a bit more of a build or whatever, but I don't mind it because we've seen them together before. Very bold shout, though, about, the Young Bucks potentially ended up being, one of the best tag teams of all time. But who knows? When we look back at things, especially the impact they've had, I mean, they create a company. So, I mean, once they're, retired, I'm sure that argument will be able to be made. I'm certain of that. But now let's talk about another great tag team. In fact, let's talk about another two great tag teams. Let's firstly talk about the Blackpool Combat Club, specifically Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, because they are teaming up tonight to face Penta El Zero and Rey Fenix, otherwise known as the Lucha Bros. Now, if you didn't watch Rampage last week, and this is the one match I did see from it, you did miss one great thing, and that was the Blackpool Combat Club against the Best Friends. That parking lot brawl, that was exceptional. It really, really was. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think it might be the most expensive match in AEW history, as like 10 cars were just completely destroyed.
I probably got them at police auctions.
They must have, because they were just completely destroyed. Sue's van was destroyed, but it was a really, really fun match. And seemingly the Best Friends are now out of this short but bit weird feud. But that was a great match, and I really think this is going to be a great match tonight on Dynamite 2. I will never complain about seeing the Lucha Bros on AEW Dynamite. Moxley, Claudio, it's going to be a banger. Not much more to say about it than that. But Clark, do you have much to add on this one?
The Lucha Bros are the two best luchadors on this planet, and anytime you put them on a card, I've never been disappointed. It's just a fact. It's I don't know whether Penta or Phoenix is better, but I'm so happy they're still a tag team.
Yeah.
Speaking of tag teams splitting up and whatnot, like we talked about earlier, and also I do think we gotta obviously tag Bully Ray in the real from Carter saying that the Young Bucks are the best tag team of all time. I'm sorry, I'm totally kidding. but I really do love the Lucha Bros. I love Moxley and Claudio. This one should be a banger. 2 great tag matches on a card on a Wednesday night. It feels like old school AEW tag team division.
Yeah.
I just want my very favorite Proud and Powerful back so badly. Santana and Ortiz, please figure it out and come back.
I think you're going to end up, booking them, a flight to the AEW,
They're my favorite.
Because you really do want them back, and I will agree with you. I think it's looking more and more less likely now that they're both taking independent booking separately now. So I don't even know if their days in AEW are done, which absolutely sucks. But talking about Santana and Ortiz, they were once in a faction called the Inner Circle. And we all know, that faction kind of fizzled out and it became the Jericho Appreciation Society. Names such as Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, they stayed in there. Some new ones joined. Daniel Garcia.
Daddy Magic.
2.0. I completely...
Daddy Magic, Matt Menard,
and
Cool Hand Ange.
They're great.
Angelo Parker.
I really do love them because
and me and Matt Menard shared an Egg McMuffin at Chicago Airport. Shout out Matt Menard after All Out 2022. Great guy. It was awesome. We didn't share one McMuffin. We each had our own, but
liar.
We ate them next to each other. I actually bought his McMuffin for him.
Wait, you want to take him out for a date? What's wrong with you?
No, he was behind me in the crowd, and I called him the B word at the show from the second row, so I felt kind of obligated. So I was like, "You want a McMuffin?" Next thing you know, we're fast friends. Great guy.
You want to go back to my place for a coffee? Yeah, that's what he was saying. Sorry. Carry on.
We're about to board flights.
Sorry. Stop talking. Let Ben do his thing. Apologies. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, this podcast has probably been the funniest one we've ever done, Mod. But yeah, anyway. So he's not sharing a McMuffin with Clark today. Instead, he's putting Chris Jericho on trial. Because, yes, it's going to be a mandatory meeting of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Now, we know over the last few weeks, Jericho has been getting more and more involved with the Don Callis family. He teamed with Takeshita to take on Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara last week. That was, it was a great match, very, interesting to now see which side Jericho will pick. Will he pick his own faction or will he pick Don Callis' family? Now, the Jericho Appreciation Society are not happy about this. They're not happy about how long Chris Jericho is taking to make his decision about it. So tonight, it's going to be a mandatory meeting of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and hopefully, we'll find out, what happens and what is next for Chris Jericho. But Chaos, give me your prediction for this segment. Where do you think this story is going?
I was just like, while he was talking there, I was like kind of pondering like what I would like to see. And what I've noticed over the course of this faction, obviously they went really when they first were created, they leaned very, very hard into the sports entertainment side of things. And there was times where they were making mockery of Roman Reigns saying, "I appreciate us," or calling, was it the AEW Galaxy or anything like that. I think they should kind of, and over the course of time, they were like fading away from that, or like just not really focusing on that. I feel like they should actually almost recreate, not like almost word for word, the trial of Sami Zayn kind of thing. And then like, I would love to see as a joke, just like I said, table in there. They obviously there's the jury. They got exhibit A of the meets that Jericho and Don Callis has been having and all this kind of stuff. Jericho is feeling unapologetic, and then I don't know, Magic, was it Magic Mike? Was it Magic? Daddy Magic or something, or maybe
Mike.
What's the other one? I don't know why I said Magic Mike. What's the other guy?
Tatum.
What's the other guy?
Cool Hand Ange. Angelo
Cool Hand Ange. Yeah, is he the one you want to taste? No, it's not. It's
No, that's Daddy
Magic Mike. Yeah, him. All right,
Daddy
cool.
Magic.
Yeah, Daddy Magic.
Daddy Magic, Matt Menard from Montreal.
That's the one. Matt Menard.
There's
Yeah.
no Mike.
He should be the. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's a force of habit.
There's no more mics.
Okay, fair enough. I think he should be the one that just says like, you don't appreciate us, and then he calls on to Cool Hand Ange, and he was like, Cool Hand Ange, and then like, and he has his little comb thing, and he's about to threaten he's gonna cut Jericho, and then something I don't know, just completely just make it over just dramatic, just over the top, and yeah, because it's something has to. They didn't make this thing interesting because, quite frankly, clearly you can see I do not care for this storyline. It's not really felt falling. It fell flat for me. So I feel like at the end of the day, Jericho will go with Don Callis. He's already, he's taken the in that match. Don Callis helped him to win and all that kind of stuff. So he's definitely leaning it towards that. But yeah, they're just really going to lean forward into the melodramatic side of things. And then just take it from there, and then just basically just what's excommunicado Jericho from the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Well, is it just the appreciation?
Why'd you have to go Spanish? You could have just said
I was thinking of John Wick. I don't know, excommunicado. There you go.
Oh gosh, but I mean, here's the thing, right? So what you're saying, Chaos, right, is you want AEW to basically do an appreciation combat match. Where, we complained about the tribal combat match. We complained about how the gimmick, it could have been better. Yeah. How about AEW just be like an absolute, F you to WWE?
Funny as a joke.
Yeah. Just go really melodramatic. Everyone's going about cinema and all that. I'd say just take that and then just really just blow it up. And then just
we had it as a gimmick.
David,
it's funny as a joke.
David had, tons of great ideas. About what the tribal combat match should be. Imagine if they just did that for the Jericho Appreciation.
Screw it, yeah.
Like all those ideas, they combined.
You make it like you make exactly what tribal combat should have been.
Spears. There's no ring. The ring's surrounded. Let's go Inferno. No ropes Inferno match.
Oh God, no. No, we don't want to see that. No. And then just surround it with all these, all these
wrestling history hasn't had a lot of success with
FMW, put have the ring in the pool. I mean, AEW's the promotion to do it.
Me and Carter on the same wavelength here, but Carter, what's your prediction for tonight?
I think, same deal. It's like the junior bloodline with the jerk. There is one name, though, you mentioned, Ben, and I just want to point it out as a Southern California guy, Daniel Garcia, one of my favorites in the company right now. PWG champion, we got Danny Garcia. So I loved him being elevated, him being in the faction. That's great. But I think kind of making a mockery of the bloodline seems like I want to be in the Jericho Appreciation Society. I don't know if there's a way to. I truly, Fozzy, love Fozzy. I appreciate Chris Jericho. I wish I could be in this society.
Coming to the UK soon as well. He's doing a Fozzy tour.
I've got a T-shirt. I feel like I'm honorary.
You're the honorary. What's?
I'm the honorary.
You name 5 songs. Can you name 5 songs?
Honorary juice.
Yeah, I can't.
Yes.
I'm the honorary juice.
But if Danny Garcia's in it, it's good enough for me.
It's all about Garcia. Everyone knows that.
Love Garcia, man. He killed it.
PWG champion will be at PWG this weekend too. Wrestling Gorilla.
Yeah, no, me and Carter are taking over PWG.
One of the greatest promotions in wrestling.
Wow. I'm jealous that you guys are going to that. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. With a quick comment I'm going to quickly read. Maybe one day during the Royal Rumble, when the audience counts down from 10, there will be a deep silence, and suddenly, look in my eyes, what do we see? I'm not gonna say
that was not very good, but
and that comment is from Twitch, and shout out to Arduan Lou 6735. I'm not good with numbers.
You just about got there, just about.
But shout out if you thank you for your comment.
But the answer is no.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it would be fun. I'd love it. But
Nope.
yeah, I don't think so. But Clark,
Wouldn't even be fun.
let's not talk about things you don't think that's going to happen. Clark. Let's talk about something which you think will happen tonight on AEW Dynamite. What do you think is going to happen in the mandatory meeting of the Jericho Appreciation Society?
I don't think there's anyone better at this type of segment than Chris Jericho in the entire world. I mean, he made all kinds of goofy talk show segments. He made the best friends with Kevin Owens thing work. He's had like 900 haircuts, 15 different characters. He's worn suits. He's worn rock star attire. He's changed entrance music. It doesn't matter when it comes to like these kind of in-ring, even back to like Dinner Debonair with MJF. He's liquid gold when it comes to these type of segments. And I don't even know if I can accurately predict where this is going to go, but it will be a number of shenanigans. It's going to be a lot of fun. Daddy Magic will take the mic for sure and be hilarious. Cool Hand Ange, I'm sure, will be hilarious. Daniel Garcia, I'm hoping will dance. I can imagine that there will be a lot of pre-taped stuff. The idea about simulating the tribal court thing is a good one. I don't know if that will be intentional or not, but I can't fathom this not having a number of really well produced pre-tape segments. We know Jericho likes to do that. The Vegas trip during the MJF period. I mean, like, it's right up his alley. If we're going to end the society, I think the time is now, not to quote John Cena, but at the pun intended, but at the end of the day, I think the time is now to end the group, and they'll do it tonight. Jericho's so creative. I think it's going to be entertaining as could be. I don't know exactly how they go about it, but it no matter what, it will be a laugh fest and it will be entertaining.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like you said, Chris Jericho is a genius with this type of stuff. He really, really is. It could be so interesting. But I have one final question for you guys. What's your reaction going to be if it's just a 1 minute backstage segment? As I have a bad feling.
I would be thrown heavily. If that's the case, I would be thrown off.
I just want this done and dusted. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know. I love these Jericho. Maybe maybe this is, the sports entertainment guy within me, but I do love the Jericho segments where, they take some real, time with it and it's funny and all that. I just hope it's not a 1 minute backstage segment.
I also think Jericho, like, one of his best skills is wrapping up storylines, even if they're not great.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He always kind of can put a bow on something, even if the build wasn't as good. And so, we've had our complaints for a little bit about Jericho Appreciation Society. There was times where we appreciated them probably more, right?
Yeah,
unintended, I guess. But at the same time, I think that's one of his best skills. And if it was 1 minute, I'd be thoroughly disappointed and I'd be confused.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I really don't think he's done anything for Sammy Guevara. I think it's done a lot for 2.0. I think he's done a lot for Daniel Garcia. I don't think he's done much for Jake Hager. So
I don't think Jake Hager cared.
That's the thing. Like, it's done great for. I mean, it's done decent. The only person I don't think should be in this group at this point in time is Sammy Guevara, as I think he is just. I think he's been elevated by Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho deserves a lot of credit for that. But I feel like that's peaked now. I think it's he should have moved on about a year ago, or at the very least during the Four Pillars feud.
After Inner Circle, and maybe the Sex Gods thing was the Sex Gods was Inner Circle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's carried through both. They've done it.
Okay, but I think that's like right there. You should have when Inner Circle was done. That was it. Should have literally cut ties. Yeah, I agree.
No, I absolutely do agree with that. Daniel Garcia, like I said, 2.0, like I said, both have, benefited greatly from it. Anna Jay and Ty Mello, I'm not sure if they really benefited from it. Anna Jay's a heel I've enjoyed, though. So I think she's benefited from being a heel, I will say that much. But I'm just hoping whatever's next for these guys is great. And if they do carry on the Appreciation Society, I hope there's, like, a direction for them going forward, because like we said, it's actually quite a stacked faction. It is, but it's in the name, Jericho Appreciation Society. They are literally his lackeys. Like, that's what it is.
It's gotten stale.
Yeah,
But
we're going to have to wait and see. I hope it's a good segment. It's a stacked Dynamite. I'm excited. I personally am very excited for this show. But that does bring us to the end of the daily broadcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, follow. If you're on Twitter, a retweet. And if you're on Spotify,
It's not Twitter.
a cheeky 5-star would be lovely. And yeah, you're right, Chaos. It's now X, right? Degeneration X.
DegenerationX.com. Tweet us.
Don't really, but no. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back here tomorrow at a slightly later start time. Clark, Anthony, and Shard, they're gonna have a banger of a throwback Thursday. So we will see you guys then. 11 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m.
Pacific, noon Hawaiian.
Too much maths for me at this time of night. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.